Hello, Chris.
How are things?
Oh, really good. I had so much
That
fun
was pretty
today.
awesome.
Awesome. So, I'm so happy to hear that you guys were watching. Did you have a good time watching?
Yeah, it was nerve-wracking for me because I'm the only person at the office, so my job was keep the servers up, keep the race going. Like I'm the guy who has to deal with it when everything crashes. And it didn't, which is amazing. So I'm very happy, and it was entertaining to watch. And then all the GGG people messaging me from their homes, where like it's Saturday night and they're watching the races, and there was blow-by-blow commentary as things were happening, even though I can see it myself on the stream.
Oh, that's awesome. It's like 10 p.m. there. You're still in the office keeping the servers going.
Yep, I skipped a wedding for this as well.
You skipped a what? A wedding?
Yeah,
Okay.
of a co-worker.
Wow. Wow. I'm well. I'm honored. Thanks for tuning in during someone else's wedding. Oh man. So how did this whole race thing come to happen? Because I only learned about it like 2 days ago, and I was just like, I saw there was only going to be Chinese commentary, so I thought I'll commentate it.
Well, one
Yeah,
of
what
the
happened?
things that Tencent was wanting to do this season, because they call our league seasons in the Tencent realm, was to have a mini international kind of thing where they wanted a race because their players absolutely love race seasons. They're much more fastidious at doing race seasons than we are, and so they have good races, and they wanted to have a race where they invited a bunch of our players, and we forewarned them that our players have a lot more experience and there's some pretty good guys and they might win it. And they're totally happy with that because they just want to celebrate Path of Exile worldwide and give an aspirational goal to Chinese players to say, look, with some more training, this is where you can be.
Uh
And like in a year, they might be better, right? We have to be careful here. So,
yeah.
so they announced the event at the beginning of season two, and so they're using this one here as a promotional event for 3-0 with the Beastray stuff, where in addition to the race streaming, they also showed the trailer and explained to players how the league works and so on and so on. So it's a promotional event as well as a competition, and that went quite well, other than Twitch screwing up right near the end.
Yeah, no, considering I had no real setup here, I thought that went pretty smoothly. It was pretty fun. So they've had a bit of like a race season thing going on, but it's all pretty new to them. But it's really good to hear that they were like keen, like they knew that our guys were a lot more experienced, and they were probably gonna get whipped a little bit, but that they were still happy with that. So do you think like they'll enjoy that? And
Yeah, I think they were pretty happy with the results. I mean, they've got a ton of viewers on the Chinese platform that they were streaming on, and of course, there are tons of Twitch viewers on your channel and the various other ones. I think we were number 7 on Twitch overall as a game, which is pretty good considering it's just a random Saturday with some races. So that's promising to see.
yeah, like I hope that they, I hope they're really happy with that because that was really fun to kind of have put on and to be like an unexpected thing to have this race. So I guess the follow up question then, Chris, is based on what you saw today, how much fun I had, how much fun the viewers had, and how many of them there were. Uh, what are you thinking about the future of racing for Pee Wee?
Well, we've been wanting to do more races for a while. The tricky part is fitting it in. And I think the important part is for us to not let the concept of big race seasons with prizes that we were doing in the past get in the way of us running
Mm,
races at all. Like, I have significant problems, both logistically, practically, and business wise, with running a full race season that lasts for a month and having to create art for it and
yep.
maintain all of that stuff and make sure that the art works with fated recipes and so on and so on, and distract people from the league, when what we can do is just have races for the purpose of this was a race that people enjoyed playing. And so, I mean, there are many ways we can approach this, of course. The way the community was doing it recently was really awesome. We can
Mm,
help tool that up a little bit more. We kind of avoided getting too involved in that because we wanted to see how it would pan out if there weren't GGG sanctioning or GGG prizes put on top of that. So
yep.
it's something we could potentially join forces with you guys, or alternatively, we can just add some more features and officially run races like this, sporadically. It's just having them as a month-long season where 3 times a day you've got to stop playing your maps and go and do races is a bit of a drain in terms of staff resources and also on what the players are having to concentrate on.
Yeah, like some people might not know this, but I know you've mentioned this in the past that it actually affected player retention in a negative way, where people would start racing and then they'd not return to the regular league.
Yeah, it distracts them because it gives them multiple goals, and the reason partly is because you're giving them prizes. If the prizes are bad compared to what they're going to get in the league, then they're going to say the race prizes are crap. Why would I play this? But then if the prizes are better than the league, they're just going to abandon that and do as much effort on the race season as they can. And so there's a difficult contention there, and that's one reason why we pushed week-long events towards the end of the season, because then people have kind of done what they came to do in the season, and there's less, there's less competition for their attention.
So would you like? Would you be? You mentioned like kind of not wanting to get super involved to see how it panned out with the like Havoc and Co race events, which I think went really well. But I reckon like all the guys, I know I would be keen to kind of like chat with you guys more about it. Would you be keen to or just I could do some brainstorming?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. It's pretty easy for us to set up races. Like we can turn them on pretty quickly. It's just a matter of there's a lot of logistics associated with making sure we've got good commentators and that everyone's on the same schedule and they've been advertised to the players well, and there's someone around to make sure they can fix the service if something goes wrong. So if the community is happy with races where, we don't have a server guy available at 3 a.m., local time, then I'm sure we can make something happen during times where we do have people available.
Yeah, it seems like it's become more and more of a time, and I've certainly noticed this like a big spectator thing. Like a lot of people like to play the races, but also I think a lot more even like to watch the races and engage with the game a lot that way. So and I think that's kind of like with this and with Havoc's season and everything, kind of the really combining the commentary and spectator side of it, I think has made a big difference to how much people get engaged with it. So maybe that's like something we could explore.
I have a question for you. So let's say, there's an invitational kind of race where we get a bunch of good races and we commentate it and everyone knows and there's character and personality behind it, but the average Joe watching the stream can't just immediately join. Compared with one where everyone in the realm joins it. How do you feel about that? Like, is it okay to have an emphasis more towards invitational races where there's a way for people to occasionally qualify for it? Or should we just do realm-wide races from day one, noting that realm-wide races have significantly more support and logistics and distraction costs than just a thing that some people play and others watch on Twitch?
Yeah, I'm torn because like I want people to be able to have a chance to play races, and it's really fun even if you aren't like professional at it. And it's also a way to get new blood into the community as well over time. But I think the invitational thing is overall more hype, and as you said, the logistics of it, potentially not as bad. Only having to run something for 8 people or something and doing that every now and then probably. I mean, if we're just talking from a purely bang for your buck kind of bang for your effort, then it seems probably better overall. And well, I guess from my perspective as well, if I get to do things like cast that or be involved in it, then that's really exciting for me personally.
Right. Well, we certainly wouldn't want to restrict it to always be only invitationals, because then people don't get to experience racing and so on and so on. I mean, it kind of comes back to the custom leagues idea as well, where it's something which it's on the back burner for when we find time. Custom leagues are relatively close to being a thing we can do. It's just a matter of finding the right, I guess, business model and way for it to work, where someone could say, you know what, I want a practice race for myself, or I want a small race for my friends and I to play for a few hours. And it could be relatively inexpensive for them to set that up for the purposes of practicing or just competing. In fact, we could do a thing where streamers will run one that they commentate and we don't have any involvement. They just set it up and invite people potentially.
The ability to put up some custom leagues of these things where we can play around with the mods and stuff is like my dream right now, Chris.
Right. So really we need to work out a plan for the best way forward, because it may be that the best way forward is just to sit down with you guys, work out a schedule, we'll implement it, like we'll turn the races on at the right times, and then that happens. Or maybe the best thing to do is to just finish the custom league stuff, hand it to you, and say, have fun with that.
I think like from what we've seen with Havoc and that how well they put on these events, then it seems like getting the tool set up is probably the way to go. But maybe it would be worth talking with the other guys and not just having me be the one kind of making claims on this. Everyone in chat, I don't know if you have chat open, but everyone in chat spamming qualifiers. I think people love the idea of having some qualifier races.
Well, this is interesting because when we were talking about rewards earlier, and we've tried a few different rewards in the past, right? But remember back in the day we had currency, and someone can look at it and go, well, it's not worth my time to play for 1 Chaos Orb. So, there were big problems with giving out currency. And then we moved on to the microtransaction rewards, the alternate art ones, which required as much effort as micros. Having qualification be a reward for the masses, where the good players do it for fame and the masses do it for the purpose of qualifying to become famous, is not necessarily a terrible thing, and resolves many of our concerns with having to compete against the league for rewardiness and also have to create special things for the community. Though it's hardly a problem to give out mystery boxes or something as well.
Yeah. Like I guess I don't think people would be See, I know this has been a big thing for you guys in the past. It feels like it's gotten in the way with setting up the entire league and having all the custom cosmetic microtransactions. And it was really cool, and I think it was motivating for some people, but I think a lot of people that were really into racing are pretty happy just to have racing without that stuff. So a lot less effort on you guys' part isn't going to reflect badly on you, don't think, if we can develop some of these tools to make interesting races happen. But an immediate problem with the qualifier idea that I see is that at the moment, the only way we have to commentate these is through streams. So if the people that are qualifying aren't streamers, then we can't do that. So that'll require a big kind of push towards the other thing, which was the spectating option that we've talked about in the past.
Right. The spectator mode, as I've mentioned to you, but some of the viewers may not be aware, was previously basically impossible prior to us having lockstep, but now it's more possible. I mean, it's still a bunch of work, but now that we have a deterministic data stream that can be recreated and played back and have the same result, then spectating is certainly a possible thing. Before we had that in predictive mode, you could get basically the spectator stream would be out of sync, so you get snagged on a wall and the person watching it sees it wrong, even though it happened differently on the other client.
Yeah.
But now that we have lockstep, it's pretty easy. From a technical point of view, of course, there's a ton of work required to add it. But theoretically, you could have it so your client is able to flick between the characters while spectating, and we turn on the spectator account for each league, and so on and so on. The tricky thing is, spectating requires Jonathan time. We can use Jonathan time to solve much larger problems with the game. So that's a very, very difficult trade-off. Another point, by the way, with streaming is, while cheating isn't rampant and we have some really good anti-cheating tech that catches people, it's still a thing where if you're competing in a race against people where you can't see what they're doing, any dirty trick or tool that they're running could be used to gain an advantage, and it may be days before we actually ban them for it. So they could technically win a race unfairly, and we choose not to ban them immediately because giving them immediate feedback to whether their map hack is detected is, of course, makes it really easy for the tool authors to work around it. We need them to instead give the map hack to a lot of players, and then we wait a few days and ban all those players to make them scared of running map hacks.
Wow, I hadn't considered that perspective of like the cheating aspect of it.
So that's where it's nice to have streamers involved, of course, because then you can watch what they're doing and see there's no extra info being gleaned.
Yeah, okay. All right. Yeah, something to consider. I got the feeling that the spectator point of view is probably something that would be a fair bit more far off, because that's going to require some pretty big things to happen. But I think there's definitely a lot of potential for us to just do a few little things and get some really cool stuff happening on the regular.
Yeah, I agree. And plus, having more people streaming Path of Exile isn't a bad thing. Like, I mean, someone like Dead and Doom hadn't bought a webcam before. This is the first time we're seeing him, and it wasn't hard for him to do so. He just plugs it in, and we've got a new streamer. He's probably got a bunch of people on his channel now and may stream a bunch more Path of Exile. And so having it so that to engage in the races you're doing involving someone streaming, I don't think it's a significant burden in 2018. I mean, there's fast internet and webcams everywhere.
Yeah, and I think we could like definitely proceed with that in the meantime. Like, there's a lot of people who a lot of the top races are streamers, so it kind of works out well enough at the moment, at least.
Plus, a large amount of the value of this is the fact that it's fun to watch as well.
Yeah.
That's a key observation we've made in the last few years about races, where initially it was all about getting as many people playing, but many sports I enjoy watching a whole lot more than I enjoy getting wet on a field somewhere.
that's true.
I don't enjoy sports at all, by the way.
Yeah, I'm with you. Esports.
Yep.
Bring on the esports.
So I suspect that having a good streaming environment for it may be a good place to start there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Well, I'd really love to, for us and you guys to explore the potential of like the custom league stuff and having some invitationals and things like that. We could do a little bit of both or something and explore that out.
Well, I can't promise we can get the invitational. Can't promise we can get the invitational stuff with full streaming, full spectating immediately. But honestly, we can arrange something with the community. I think a good time to target this might be, say, 4 or 5 weeks before the end of the current league. Mm-hmm. We can run some events if you guys, as the streamers, work out what you'd like to commentate, and we run it by the community, get some feedback on it, maybe host some qualifiers so we can get some fresh blood, give people an idea of what kind of races they should be practicing for, so they can, like if it's the 2 that we showed tonight, for example, which were designed by our in-house race expert, then maybe we focus on ones of this size, or if we're doing races that involve a lot more fun mods that are less deterministic, then we let community members know they can practice those.
Yes, that's awesome. I really look forward to it. Yeah, let's do it, Chris. We'll chat about it, and we'll get the other guys looped in and Havoc and everyone.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for commentating. Is there anything else you want to discuss while I'm around?
no, that's good for now. I know it's super late over there. Thanks so much
Oh,
for
it's
watching
cool.
and having a chat and everything. That's awesome.
Awesome.
But
Thanks to everyone who enjoyed the races. It was great to see your comments and the high Twitch numbers. And thanks, of course, to everyone involved with them. It went really smoothly, and here's to many more in the future.
indeed, indeed. I'll catch you later, Chris. Have a good evening.
All right. Take care. Bye.
Bye. Yes! That was so good. Oh, yes. Finally. Finally, the race hype. I've talked to Chris a number of times, like when I've gone to New Zealand about racing and things, and it was always like we've had conversations like that before where it's like, yeah, we have the like ability to do these things and we want to do them, but we don't really like, I guess I didn't really get to see that, but I think like with Havoc and everyone's race community race events and the like how well they did and the hype behind those, and then today, like combined with today, and like how the strong showing that you guys put on as viewers, and all that hype, and just how fun all this was, and like I guess also perfect timing with everyone else, like all the devs watching from home apparently. That's and because Chris skipped his friend's wedding to watch, I guess that kind of like hit the perfect moment. So that's good. That's good. Yeah, dude, I'm super hyped. That's exciting. I hope you guys are too. Thanks for hanging out and kind of showing that hype and sharing that hype, guys. This is really fun. I'm gonna head off. I'm exhausted now. It's the hype casting for so many hours. I'm gonna head off now. But I'll upload this stuff to YouTube as well when I can. So that'll be up. And I forgot to ask if Rise. I forgot. I'm sorry, Rise. Rise. I'm sorry, bro. I forgot to ask you, Chris, not to ban you. I guess you're at his mercy now. Yeah, I'll try and upload this on YouTube. Alrighty, dudes. Thank you again very much for tuning in. This was an absolute blast. I'll catch you again very soon for some more Path of Exile action. I'm ZiggyD, and thank you very much for watching. Bye-bye, guys.